Good afternoon, baseball fans. Anthony with Bleacher Bums Gaming, and I am sitting here with my bracket from the 2021 NCAA tournament in absolute tatters. So instead of subjecting myself to any more frustrating college basketball, we are here at Exposition Park for a late season game in our 1908 Beyond the Merkle game pennant chase replay between the Cardinals and Pirates. And the Pirates enter this game on September 29th, 1908, down a single game to the Chicago Cubs. And this is a pivotal late season series. Standings at this point in the replay, the Chicago Cubs sit atop the league at 93 and 54. New York Giants are a half game behind them at 91 and 52. And Pittsburgh in third, a game back at 92 and 55. So we are coming to the home stretch of this replay. Chicago has roughly 7 games left, and Pittsburgh 7 games left. And New York, depending on rainouts, they suffered some rainouts earlier in the season, but they could have a total of 10 games left, actually 11 games left still. So that's where we're at in the replay. And before we get started, today's 7th inning fun fact will be regarding the Giants manager, John McGraw, and why Fidel Castro is not a fan, or was not a fan, I guess. So we'll get our stuff for the pitchers. On the hill for the visiting Cardinals is Irv Higginbotham. And 19, he has his terrible or C stuff today. And starting for the homestanding Pirates, Howie Kamnitz. And Kamnitz will have his average stuff. And I tweak the rolls on this as a house rule. I go 1 to 5 for A and 16 to 20 for C. Everything in between is normal or B stuff, which is why Kamnitz has B. So we'll get our lineups out for the Cardinals, and this is the first time they've made an appearance in this replay. They start with Al Shaw in center, Chappie Charles at second, Red Murray in center. Right. Ed Konechny at first, Champ Osteen at short, Joe Delahanty in left, Jack Bliss catching, Bobby Byrne at third, and again, Higginbotham on the mound. For the Pirates, it's Roy Thomas in center, Fred Clark in left, Tommy Leach at third, Hannes Wagner at short, Ed Apaticio at second, Alan Stork at first, Spike Shannon in right, George Gibson catching. And again, his battery mate is Howie Kamnitz. So we are ready to go. First pitch as Al Shaw steps in against Kamnitz 53. We're going right to the defensive charts. And 53 is going to be a potential, actually that's a range play, sorry, a center field, a double to center field. So in center field for the Pirates with a range of 11 is Roy Thomas, and he's going to run that down on a roll of 5. A nice running catch in center field to start the game. That brings up Chappie Charles, the Cardinals' second baseman. Here comes a pitch, 55, and 55 is going to be a hard single up the middle, and Charles is going to automatically steal second base. So both catchers have average arms, so no adjustment to the base runner steal rating, which is 13 for Charles. He gets a lead, he goes, and just in there underneath the tag, George Gibson, a strong throw, but Charles able to beat that out, and the Cardinals have a runner in scoring position. That brings up Red Murray. Cardinals right fielder waits for the pitch, and that's going to be a potential hit by pitch 1 to 9, and he is indeed plunked in the ribs. So Kamnitz struggling here in the first inning, gave up a vicious shot, which a nice play was made in the outfield to start the game. And then a single and a hit batsman, and that brings up first baseman Ed Konechny. And he was a solid hitting, and in a time where first basemen normally were regarded better for their defensive skills. Konechny, a career 285 hitter, and he is going to score with a single there. And base hit to center field, second to home, a F or A runner scores, and Red Murray is an F, so he's going to come in to score. And first to third, That's going to take a fast runner to get to third, and I'm sorry, Charles is average, Murray is fast, so Charles comes around to score, and Murray goes over to third, and the Cardinals jump out to a 1-0 lead on the RBI single by Konechny, and that brings up Champ Osteen. Runners at the corner, double play depth on the infield. Dale Buckingham, welcome to the ballpark, my friend. Yeah, I usually, depending on work, I usually do these either later or very early in the morning before I start work. But as I mentioned, I'm done watching my brackets get abused in the NCAA tournament, so decided to do this instead. And Champ Osteen, that is going to be an out. And that's going to be a ground ball to second base with a runner on first. That's going to be a 4-6-3 double play unless he is an F runner, which he is not. So a stellar double play by the Pirates, and that's going to go Apaticio to Wagner and over to Stork. And that gets Pittsburgh out of the inning as the Cardinals get a couple of hits in a run. We head to the bottom of the first, 1-0, St. Louis in the lead. And again, Higginbotham has his C stuff. A terrible bullpen session as Roy Thomas leads it off. But Higginbotham jams him. That's going to be a shallow fly ball into left field, 1 down. Routine play for Joe Delahanty, one of the famous Delahanty playing baseball or baseball playing brothers. And of course, the most famous was Ed Delahanty, who tragically in a drunken stupor fell off the Niagara Bridge in 1903 after being ejected from a train. 34. And 34 coming off of Higginbotham's card, C column, is going to be a single. So Pirates, Fred Clark gets their first hit of the game. 1 down, runner on first for Tommy Leach. Higginbotham kicks and delivers, and Leach, this will be a double play automatically if it's a ground ball. Instead, it's going to be a fly out to right field. And scampering back to first base goes Clark. And that brings up the Flying Dutchman, Honus Wagner. Runner on first, 2 down. Here comes the pitch, and that will be a single on a roll of 1 to 9. That's a 17 on the 1D20. Instead, that will be a line drive to left field. And coming in to take that is Delahanty, so the Pirates get a hit. Leave 1, and we head to the top of the second inning, 1-0. St. Louis in the lead, and in real life, my bracket's beyond, my God, my bracket is absolutely in shambles. I'm sure most people's are, but still, even the upsets I did pick, Dale, I was wrong on the upsets I did pick, and then with so many favorites going down, and plus my BYU Cougars just were never in the game last night against UCLA, so yeah. I definitely needed a break from that as we start the second inning. Joe Delahanty leads it off, 53. That's going to be a double past the third baseman into the left field corner, and range of 9 is the roll. And at third base is Tommy Leach. Leach with a 10, dives, backhands that near the line from his knees, and he guns down Delahanty. Excellent play at third base by Tommy Leach, the diminutive one. 1 down to start the second, and that's the same way the game started, with a stellar play by a fielder for the Pirates. Jack Bliss up, and slow curve. He's way out in front, swinging him at strike 3. 2 down now, and that brings up the Cardinals' third baseman, Bobby Byrne, his first at bat of the day. 55, and Byrne, he is going to rope that over Honus Wagner's head into left field, a 2-out single. And Cardinals with a base runner, and the pitcher, Erg Higginbotham, steps up to the plate. Now, Red Sox fan has joined us here at Exposition Park, known as the Soot Park, as it was often covered with ashes due to the factory. Welcome, my friend, and check out Al's wonderful channel. He's got some Fire Pro Wrestling, some deathmatch tournament going on, which is always good fun to watch. And there are landmines in the ring, and because of that, they are exercising the utmost in caution from his broadcast yesterday for the wrestlers. As Higginbotham 16, and that is going to be a swing and a miss. So two strikeouts in this inning for Kamnitz as the Cardinals get a hit and strand him at first base. Going to the bottom of the second inning, it's 1-0 St. Louis in the lead. It's going to be Abaticio, Stork, and Spike Shannon. And here comes a pitch to Abaticio, and he's going to put that in play. That's going to be a shallow fly ball into left field. And Delahanty, a busy man early in this one, 3 putouts already, 1 down to start the second. And first baseman Alan Stork steps in, and 42, and that is going to be a base on ball off of Higginbotham's card. And again, Higginbotham pitching with his C-grade stuff. So he will be tenuously battling to hold on to this 1-0 lead as Spike Shannon steps up to the dish. And 65, big Spike. He puts that in play. That's going to be a ground ball in front of the plate to the catcher. Fielder's choice 2-6. And catcher with his strong arm starts a 2-6-3 double play, which Jack Bliss does not. So 2-6, Stork is erased at second base, and on with a fielder's choice is Shannon. And George Gibson, the Pirates catcher, steps up to the dish, 43, and that's going to be another base on balls. So motoring down to second base is Shannon, and just like last inning, the pitcher spot will be up with a chance to make a dent here as Howie Kamnitz digs in. Kamnitz, he was a typically horrendous hitting pitcher, batted .083 in 1908. And that's going to be a swing and a miss, the high heat, Higginbotham. Walks 2 and strikes out 1. No hits, no runs, no errors as we head to the top of the third. 1-0 St. Louis in the lead. Yeah, Fire Pro are one of my favorite that Al does too, just because he does them in a very Gordon Soley-like fashion, as if you were watching an absolute real event. Al, one of the best in the business at broadcasting on YouTube. It's always a pleasure to have you here, my friend. As top of the third, Al Shaw starts it off, and here comes a pitch from Kamnitz. High fastball and called strike 3. Shaw does not like that, but he heads back to the dugout. Brings up Chappie Charles, who stole second and has scored the game's only run back in the first, and 41 to Charles. And Chappie's going to get his second on-base event of the day as he draws a base on balls, 4 wide ones. Red Murray will be the batter, and Murray hit by a pitch his first time up. Red Murray, when he died in 1958 in a poll, he was regarded as one of the 2 best right fielders in the history of the Giants franchise up until that point in time. Of course, the other one being Mel Ott. I'm sure he would rank a little bit lower on that list now, 36. And the pitch, and again, with his normal stuff, 36, that's going to be an out. And the right-handed batter, ground ball down to shortstop, and second baseman with a weak arm. As for Pittsburgh, Abaticio is average. That's going to be a 6-4-3 double play. And Side is retired after the 1-out walk. So no hits, no runs, no errors, nobody left. And we head to the bottom of the third. Pittsburgh trailing St. Louis 1-0. As Roy Thomas set to lead it off, 25, and Thomas smacks a curveball. That's a ground ball down to shortstop, and ranging behind the bag, Champ Osteen picks that up, wings it across the diamond, 1 down to start the third. Just a reminder, guys, our fun fact of the game today for the 7th inning stretch: why Fidel Castro hated John McGraw. As Fred Clark steps in, 23, Clark swings, and he grounds that down the line. Nice backhand stop at first base. Taking the bag himself is the first baseman for the Cardinals, Ed Konechny. 3 unassisted, 2 down. That brings up Tommy Leach, the Pirates' third baseman, who took away at least a double back in the second inning from Joe Delahanty. Here comes the pitch, and 62 off of Higginbotham's card. That's going to be a 2-hopper right back at him. He underhands that over to Stork at first, or I'm sorry, to Konechny at first. 1-3 on the putout, and the Pirates go down in order here in the third. Still 1-0 St. Louis as we head to the top of the 4th inning. And Ed Konechny, as mentioned, leads it off, a very good hitter for his time, in a time when first basemen were considered more of a defensive necessity. Very few that were considered great hitters, Frank Chance being another one. But Konechny, again, a 285 average, and he was posthumously inducted into the Wisconsin Athletic Hall of Fame in 1961. And almost as if on cue, he ropes that into the gap, and that's going to go all the way to the wall, way back in Exposition Park, motoring around second. And here comes the throw in from the outfield, Roy Thomas, and safe at third with a leadoff triple is Konechny. And the Cardinals in business here in the fourth inning, already leading 1-0 as Pittsburgh. Again, they won this game in real life 7-0 on a one-hitter by Kamnitz, and they need this desperately to keep pace with the Cubs. Here comes a pitch, and infield is in. That's going to be a fly ball to center field, and back a few steps to haul that in is Thomas, and it's going to be deep enough to get in the second run of the game as scampering across the plate is Konechny. And RBI, sacrifice fly for Osteen. It is 2-0. St. Louis in the lead. And again, one of the famous baseball playing Delahanty brothers, Joe, steps up and ropes that into right field. And coming in hard, shoestring catch out in right by Spike Shannon, takes away a hit. So 2 down, and the catcher, Jack Bliss, steps in. Bliss, a .213 hitter in 1908. And Kamnitz, 63, 1-14 is going to be a strikeout, but instead he pops it up into foul territory, ample foul territory at Exposition Park. And Tommy Leach has a beat on that, pulls it in for the third out. But the Cardinals get a run on a hit, leave nobody as we head to the bottom of the fourth. 2-0 St. Louis in the lead. And it's going to be Hannes Wagner, Apaticio, and Alan Stork for the Pirates. 46. And 46, we're going to the ballpark card, 7. And Exposition Park for a right-handed batter, 7 is going to be a foul ball. We'll do it again. So unable to get to that in third base territory is Bobby Byrne. Here comes a pitch. And hit by pitch 1-6, and Wagner hangs his elbow out over the plate, takes one for the team, trots down to first. And the Pirates have a leadoff runner here as that brings up Abaticio, the second baseman. Ed flew out to left his first time up. Here comes a pitch, 35, and again going off his C column. That's going to be a single for Higginbotham. Base hit to center field, first to third, Wagner. That was hit hard, so he's going to play it safe and hold up at second base. But Pittsburgh, runners on first and second, nobody out. They're in business here. Alan Stork drew a walk his first time up. Here comes a pitch. And that will be a double play if it is a ground ball. Instead, that's going to be a line drive, 4 on the white dice, right to the second baseman. Both runners back safely. So L4 for Stork, and it is 1 down for Spike Shannon. And Shannon, a nice shoestring grab of a line drive last inning. And that is going to be a single, 55, driven into the outfield and base hit to left. Second home, faster average score, which Wagner is, and holding up at second base is Abaticio. So Pirates are on the board. That would have been a double steal attempt for Shannon. However, the base in front of him is occupied. So 1 down, runners on first and second for Pittsburgh, trailing now 2-1, George Gibson. Chance to be a hero, 52, and that's going to the defensive chart. 52 is going to be a potential error on the pitcher. 9 is the roll. And on the hill for the Pirates, Higginbotham is indeed a 9. That's going to be a 1-base error, so the sacks are loaded, our first E of the game. So E1, Higginbotham coming apart a little bit. Sacks are loaded for the pitcher, Kamnitz, who is a terrible hitter. Not much to do here, though, as we're not going to try a squeeze, so we'll have to swing away. Here comes a pitch, and as expected, Kamnitz comes up huge with the strikeout, huge for St. Louis. 2 down, back to the top of the order. And a key at bat for Roy Thomas early in this one. Pittsburgh desperately needs a hit. Here comes a pitch, 65, and home run -10 off the pitcher's card. And that is going to be, would need to be a 1, and the home run rating, of course, is 1 to 10. So not going to happen. A long fly out to center field for Thomas, and somehow Higginbotham ice skates out of danger here in the 4th inning. 2 hits and a run, 3 left. Pittsburgh gets on the board. They trail it 2 to 1 as we head to the 5th in this. And for St. Louis, it's going to be Bobby Byrne, the pitcher spot, and top of the order, Al Shaw. Here comes a pitch from Kamnitz, and 13, Bobby Byrne grounded back to the pitcher. Easy play for Kamnitz, soft toss over to first, 1 down. And that brings up Higginbotham, who did his best Harry Houdini imitation last inning. Kamnitz gets assigned, kicks, delivers, and 36. That's going to be an out off the pitcher's card. Ground ball down to shortstop. The Flying Dutchman Wagner charges that, scoops it, and fires across the diamond. A handful of dirt and pebbles accompany the baseball as Wagner, notorious for scooping up big chunks of the infield with his large hands back in the day. 2 down. Top of the order for Al Shaw. And 45, that's going to be an out. A fly ball into shallow center field. Settling under that is Roy Thomas. Puts it away, and down in order go the Cardinals in the 5th. We're halfway through. 2-1, St. Louis with the lead, and Pittsburgh, meat of the order coming up with Clark, Leach, and Wagner. Higginbotham trying to avoid a repeat of last inning, and 46 going to the ballpark, and no home run chance on this 16 at the ballpark. And that's going to be a foul ball near the first base dugout, and over to take that just short of the steps is Konechny. So a big swing by Clark. Results in an out, and Tommy Leach steps up. Here comes a pitch to the Pirates' third baseman, and we are going to the defensive chart. 52 is going to be an error check on the left fielder. Out in left field for St. Louis with an error rating of 5 is Joe Delahanty. Roll of 9. Delahanty bobbles that and sucks it in. So 2 quick outs for Higginbotham, and Hannes Wagner steps up. Wagner today flown out and hit by a pitch and scored. Works the count to 2-1. Here comes a pitch. Wagner gets into that, laces that into the gap in left center. Wagner around first base, a stand-up 2-out double in the Pirates. Runner in scoring position for Ed Apaticcio, as Higginbotham will once again look to avert danger here. 21, that's going to be an out off of Apaticcio's card. Ground ball down to third base. Inning is over. So a 2-out double wasted as the Pirates get a hit, leave 1. We are through 5, 2-1 St. Louis in the lead. And Beatles eternally welcome. Been a long time, my friend. How are you doing? Hope all is well for you. Yes, we are back at Exposition Park for our 1908 pennant stretch run. Pittsburgh in a must-win game, trailing as Chappie Charles set to lead it off against Howie Kamnitz here in the 6th. And 64, that's going to be an out off of Kamnitz's card. And that'll be a shallow fly ball into center field. Roy Thomas routine play. 1 down, and up comes Ed Red Murray, formerly of the New York Giants. Or actually, I should say soon to be of the New York Giants. He started out with St. Louis first. 24, hit by pitch roll of 1 to 9, and 12 is going to be above that. That's going to be hit hard into right field. Moving a few steps to his left to one-hand that is Spike Shannon. And 2 down here to start the 6th. Ed Konechny up. Konechny today is 2 for 2. He has singled, tripled, has an RBI, and also scored a run. So he is the nemesis of Kamnitz at this point in time. And 42 off of Kamnitz's regular column. That's going to be 4 wide ones. So 2-out walk to Konechny, and that brings up Champ Osteen. Cardinals shortstop has hit into a double play and drove in a run with a sacrifice fly. Here comes a pitch, 62, and swing and a miss. Howie Kamnitz breaks off the bender in the dirt. Swinging over the top is Osteen, and the Cardinals go down in the 6th. No runs, no hits, no errors. One left. It is 2-1 as we head to the bottom of the frame for the Pirates. It's going to be Stork, Shannon, and Gibson. And as a reminder, our seventh inning fun fact regarding John McGraw is on deck as Stork steps in. 32. It's going to be a double on a roll of 1 to 6. Stork with a 5 laces that into the gap. And before it can be cut off, Stork is around first into second. A leadoff double for the Pirates. And looking favorable for them tying the game as Spike Shannon steps up to the plate. The switch hitter will hit from the left side. Here comes the pitch, 16. And that is going to be a ground ball back to the pitcher. Runner on second base is going to hold. Unless, of course, there are 2 outs. So a nice play by Higginbotham. That's going to bring up George Gibson, the catcher, and again, the pitcher spot on deck. And that's not going to play out well here for the Pirates, as that's going to be a ground ball down to second base. Moving over to third is Stork. But again, the very anemic bat of Howie Kamnitz now occupies the batter's box. And that is going to be a swing and a miss. Kamnitz has struck out 3 times, and he is only still in this game because he's not pitching badly, but we're through 6. And 2-1 St. Louis as the Pirates again leave a runner stranded in scoring position. We head to the top of the 7th. It's going to be Delahanty, Bliss, and Byrne for the Cardinals. Here comes the pitch, 32. That's going to be a double on a 1 to 16, and Delahanty laces that over the center fielder's head, and he thinks about going to third and decides not to chance it. A leadoff double here in the 7th inning, and Kamnitz needs to bear down. Jack Bliss, the catcher, steps in. Bliss, a .213 hitter, 44, and 44. That's going to be a single. And base hit to right field, second to home. It is going to be an assist chance. And in right field for the Pirates, with an arm of 0, that's not going to get it done. So we have a run-scoring single, as coming around to score is Delahanty, and a huge run for the Cardinals. It is now 3-1. Jack Bliss comes up huge. Third baseman Bobby Byrne steps up. Run today is 1 for 2. Here comes the pitch, 34. That's going to be an out. And it'll be a ground ball down to a second base. Runner's going to make it to second, 4-3 on the putout, as having to charge that is Abaticio. So runner in scoring position for the pitcher, Higginbotham. And Higginbotham, not much better of a hitter than Kamnitz. He hit 132 in 1908. Kamnitz, this is a huge out. 26, here comes a pitch. And against a left-handed pitcher, that would have been a single. Fortunately, Kamnitz is not that. That's going to be a fly out to center field. And on second base, an F or an F+ will advance Jack Bliss's average, so he's going to hold tight there. So 2 down, back to the top of the order for Alan Shaw. Of course, Alan Shaw, our buddy from across the pond, good friend of the channel as well. Here comes a pitch, and that's going to be a single. Base hit into right field and second to home. Esnane hold, 2 out. It's going to be an assist chance, and again, a terrible arm in right field. Another run's going to come in for the Cardinals. It's now 4-1. 2-out RBI single by Al Shaw. And finally, some action in the Pittsburgh bullpen, as getting up out there to loosen up is Sam Lever, the old schoolmaster. And again, in the dead ball time, starters would often come in relief in close games. 61, and the pitch to Charles. High fastball, Kamnitz. Charles way behind that, swing and a miss, strike 3. But the damage is done. 3 hits and 2 runs for the Cardinals as we head to our 7th inning stretch. It is 4-1. Pittsburgh needs to rally against Higginbotham, who is pitching off his grade C stuff. So our fun fact today involving John McGraw. McGraw was a notorious world traveler and especially liked Cuba. He went there often. And at the El Floridito bar in Cuba, in Havana, they actually named a daiquiri after John McGraw, the J&J for the first two initials of his first and middle name. And it stayed a staple at that bar until Fidel Castro was in power. And you would think that Castro, a noted baseball aficionado, when he found out about that, would have relished the fact that they had a drink there named after one of the great managers of American baseball. But he hated America at the time more than he loved baseball. So on Fidel Castro's order, that drink was removed from the menu of the El Floridito, where it had been for over 50 years and is still not on the menu there. So there's our seventh inning fun fact about Fidel Castro and his love of baseball and hatred of John McGraw and all things American. So for the Giants, it's top of the order. It's going to be, or Pirates, it's going to be Thomas, Clark, and Leach. Honus Wagner looms if someone can get on base. Here comes a pitch from Higginbotham. And that's going to be a ground ball down to shortstop. Champ Osteen charges that. Sidearms at the first, one down to start the seventh. Player manager Fred Clark steps up. Clark today is 1 for 3. And here comes a pitch, 64 off of Higginbotham's card. That is going to be a ground ball down to first base. And Konechny is going to take that to the bag himself. That was hit hard. 3 hopper, 2 down for Tommy Leach. Tommy Leach has the caller 0 for 3, and it's not going away here as Leach drives that into center field, going back a few steps, and under that is Al Shaw to make the third out of the inning. So 3 up, 3 down go the Pirates as we head to the 8th. Time is running out for Pittsburgh in a must-win game. It's 4-1 St. Louis, and still on the mound for the Pirates is Kamnitz. Red Murray steps in. Here comes a pitch. Ground ball back to Kamnitz. A nice play. Tosses it over to first to Stork. 1 down. First baseman Ed Konechny up, and Konechny has been a thorn in the Pirates' side all day. He is 2 for 2. Triple, single, RBI, run scored, and a walk. Here comes a pitch. And 65, that's going to be a home run off the pitcher's card, -6. So that would be a roll of 1 to 7 and a 4, and Konechny gets all of that down the left field line and over the wall. And that is only our second home run of this entire dead ball replay so far. So a 1-out blast for Konechny, and St. Louis extends its lead to 5-1. He is definitely the player of the game for the Cardinals. As Champ Osteen steps up, we are going to the 54 chart, which is here. 54 chart, Wild. Single to center field, now roll versus E, and we'll take that roll 16, and that is above the error rating of Thomas. So a 1-out single, and Lever is now warming up furiously in the Pittsburgh bullpen. They like to get Kamnitz through this inning so they can pinch hit for him and not waste a pinch hitter later, or a pitcher at least. 62, and swing and a miss, strike 3, so 2 down as Delahanty flails wildly at that fastball, and that is 5 strikeouts for Kamnitz now in this game. Jack Bliss, who hit an RBI single his last time up and later scored, hit by a pitch on 1-10, and that's a second hit batsman of the game for Kamnitz, as he just does not have it today. And trotting down to first base is Bliss. That brings up third sacker Bobby Byrne. He is 1 for 3 today. Here comes a pitch, and Kamnitz is going to get out of the inning with a fly ball. That's into the gap in left center, but it's high enough for Thomas to run under. And Side is retired, but 2 hits and another run for St. Louis heading to the bottom of the 8th. It's 5-1. The Cardinals are in the lead. Pittsburgh, they need to make something happen ASAP, and it's going to be Wagner, Apaticio, and Stork. Yeah, Konechny is definitely the star of this game. In real life, in 1908, he hit -6. Actually, is not bad. He hit 5 home runs in 1908, and he is tearing up Camnitz and the Pirates today. As Wagner set to lead it off, 62, and Hannes drives that into center field. It is hit hard, but hit right at Al Shaw, 1 down. As the faithful here at Exposition Park are slowly starting to make their way to the exits. They have all but given up on this one. But hold on, Apaticio draws 4 wide ones, a 1-out walk. Not close enough to play small ball, so Stork will swing away. Here comes the pitch, 63, and that's going to be an out off of Stork's card, a fly ball into center. So another play for Shaw out there, and that's 2 down. And up steps former Giant Spike Shannon, and Spike, he is 1 for 3 today with an RBI single. Here comes the pitch, and Shannon puts that into play. That's going to be a ground ball down to first. Konechny, underhand flip to Higginbotham, and side is retired. So 3-1, the Pirates, no hits, no runs, no errors, 1 left. And again, time is drawing nigh for them to make a rally. In fact, they have 1 inning left to do it. And they're going to they'd have to pinch hit for the pitcher regardless. So Camnitz is going to be done for the day. Not his best outing. Gave up a total of 9 hits, 5 runs, all of them earned. A rare home run. Hit 2 batters. Walked 2 and struck out 5. So Camnitz is done. And that's going to bring up the old schoolmaster, Sam Lever. And we will roll for Lever's stuff. 15, he's got his average stuff too. So Pittsburgh will look to Sam to get them out of this last inning and hope they can get some 9th inning magic going. Camnitz on the hook to lose this one. And Higginbotham is going to lead it off. Here comes a pitch at 35. And 35, Lever, a single off of his card to the weak hitting Higginbotham. And everything continues to go right for the Cardinals. Top of the order, Al Shaw. Shaw today. He's one of the, he is 1 for 4, a strikeout, and an RBI single. Here comes a pitch, 31, and another single off Lever's card. And first to third, if 1 out is their assist chance, and there is not 1 out, so station to station. And they may as well have left Camnitz in. Lever not faring anything better against the Cardinal lineup, who now has 11 hits. Here comes a pitch to Chappie Charles, and finally, that's going to be an out fly ball to center field. Second to third, an S runner holds, others advance, and at second, the pitcher is indeed a slow runner. So 1 down for Red Murray. Murray today, he is 0 for 3. He has been hit. 61. Here comes a pitch, and 61. That's going to be an out off of Lever's card. Ground ball down to shortstop, and 6-4-3 double play. Wagner and Apaticio with the turn, and Lever avoids further damage as we head to the bottom of the 9th. It is 5-1 St. Louis up, and Pittsburgh praying to the baseball gods for a rally here, and we will have a pinch hitter as it's going to be Gibson and the pitcher spot, and then back to the top of the order. And going down the bench for Pittsburgh, it's going to be Jim Kane up in the on-deck circle. All right, so we are ready to go. Gibson steps in. Umpire signals to the pitcher. Here comes a pitch. 31, and Higginbotham, that's going to be a single off of his card. So we have a faint glimmer of hope. And Jim Kane will be the pinch hitter. So runner on first base, Higginbotham gets a sign, kicks delivers 65, and that's going to be an out off of Kane's card. Fly ball into right field, 1 down, and a routine play in right for Red Murray. As we go back to the top of the order, it's going to be up to Thomas and Clark to keep this going and hopefully get it to Hannes Wagner with the tying run on base. Here comes a pitch from Higginbotham, and that's not going to get it done. That is going to be a ground ball down to shortstop, and it will be a fielder's choice at second. 6 unassisted, unable to complete the double play. So 2 down now as Thomas on at first. Fielder's choice. Fred Clark, last chance for the Pirates. Here comes a pitch from Higginbotham, who has pitched well above his rating tonight. 65, home run off the pitcher's card at -10. So that would have to be, well, it's just not happening. A deep fly ball into center field, and that is your ball game, folks. So the Cardinals step in, and Earth Higginbotham did not have a good bullpen session, but he shut down the powerful Pittsburgh lineup, a 5-1 Cardinals win, and Higginbotham with a 6-hitter. And final line score for both teams, the Cardinals, 5 runs on 12 hits, 1 error. I'm sorry, 5 runs on 11 hits, 1 error. And the Pirates, 1 run on 6 hits, no errors. That is your ball game from Exposition Park. And this was a game the Pirates won in real life in 1908. So they needed to do it here to keep pace. And this is a huge loss, which puts them now a game and a half behind the Cubs, who are to play later today. So we will be back with that game next on our next Fall Classic game on the channel. Thanks to everyone for stopping by. Dale Buckingham, thank you for joining us at the park. Good to have you here live. Of course, our good friend Al, Red Sox fan. Again, check out that wonderful channel and the Fire Pro Wrestling Deathmatch tournament he's got going on. And finally, Mouse in Your House joined us just as the beer sales were ending. Thanks for stopping by, my friend, and our good friend Beatles Eternally, who I haven't seen for a while. Good to see you, brother, and thanks for stopping in for this dead ball game. So hope you enjoyed the game and our 7th inning fun fact about daiquiris, John McGraw and Fidel Castro. Hope you all have a good rest of your afternoon. Anthony with Bleacher Bums Gaming. If you don't mind, guys, hit that like button on the way out of the park, and we will see you next time. Take care, everyone.